I'm Erin Holland. Welcome to Integrating Technology into the Primary School Classroom. This episode we'll be learning about the kid-friendly coding program Scratch 3.0. We'll learn about what it is, what its strengths are, what its weaknesses are, the program's consideration for cyber ethics and safety, and how we as pre-service teachers or teachers can successfully integrate it into our lessons while taking inspiration from the SAMR model or the SAMR model. Then I'll be running a quick tutorial where we'll learn how to make an educational animation. So let's begin. Scratch 3.0 was released in 2019 and developed by the MIT Media Lab. It is a platform where upper primary school students can create games, animations, or worlds using a block-based coding language, which is great because it means that you don't need to be fluent in Python or any of the other coding languages. All you need to do is link one block to another block to create a sequence of actions.
Scratch links to the ICT capability of managing and operating ICT, furthermore, creating with ICT. Here we can see how it relates to the learning continuum found on the Australian Curriculum website.
Scratch has many strengths. Scratch helps young people learn to think creatively, reason systematically, and work collaboratively, essential skills for life in the 21st century. Additionally, Scratch's best strength is its huge variety of resources for educators. Just click on the About button, then the Info for Educators button, and you've just unlocked a treasure trove of knowledge. There are links to walkthrough tutorials such as make a chase game, make music, and animate a character, which are designed to help you and your students develop your coding skills. There is a link to printable coding cards, which are another version of the tutorials, but some students might find a physical instruction list easier to follow, which caters to the diversity in the classroom. And then Scratch goes the extra mile and provides a link to the Teaching with Scratch Facebook page, so we as educators can develop our personal learning network and share our Scratch ideas with other teachers. Now let's take a look at Scratch's weaknesses. The most prominent weakness is that Scratch is incompatible with Internet Explorer. However, it's easy enough just to download Chrome or another search engine. In my opinion, the main fault is that the motion blocks and the sensing blocks are very similar colours, as well as the control blocks and the variable blocks. So when I was trying to learn Scratch using one of their tutorials, I needed to find the glide block, which is blue. So I was looking through all the blue blocks, and 5 minutes later I realised I was looking through the sensing blocks instead of the motion blocks. Now that was just a silly mistake on my behalf. However, if it caused me confusion, it might cause some of your students confusion too, so it's well worth the effort just to mention the issue to the students. On the other hand, Scratch has done a wonderful job considering student safety. There are no advertisements, you aren't allowed to use your real name when you create an account, and teachers can create something called an educator's account, which allows you to create accounts for your students and then oversee and manage their projects and comments, providing a safe and secure atmosphere to create in. And in terms of cyber ethics, I also believe Scratch has done a great job there. I was a little skeptical when I saw you could remix other people's projects, but after I experimented with it a bit, I realised that when you share it as your own, it always gives credit to the original creator. Now let's look at how to integrate Scratch into our primary school classroom. In the tutorial I'll be running shortly, we'll be learning how to create an educational animation, which falls under the redefinition category in the SAMR model. However, Scratch is a very versatile program, and depending on the activity, you could create an activity that falls under any of the categories of the SAMR model. Here is an example in this graphic. So Scratch can be used in many different ways, creating an informative game, demonstrating a life cycle, or retelling a scene from a story. But in the tutorial we're about to do, we'll be focusing on the Year 5 Science content descriptor. The Earth is a part of a system of planets orbiting around a star, the Sun. So let's begin. Feel free to pause the video as you follow along.
So let's start creating our space animation. The first step is to choose a sprite. A sprite is like a cartoon being that we can code to do things in Scratch. So at the moment our sprite is a cat, but I don't want that, so we'll click on the delete button in the top right hand corner here, then we'll click on this button here to go to the rest of the sprites. Now I want a space sprite to suit our theme, so we'll choose that astronaut there. That suits quite well. So I can move our astronaut around by just clicking and dragging, and I'd like to personalise him a bit, so I'll take away the name Ripley and write Space Guy. Lastly, he's a bit big at the moment, so I'll go to the size and reduce 100% to about 50%, just to get him a bit smaller. And that's how you choose a sprite. Next we're going to choose a background, so we go down here to the bottom right hand corner and choose backdrop. Then I'm going to go on the space tab and click galaxy. And there's our backdrop. Next we're going to start coding. So go to the events button, the yellow ones, then we're going to get that tab there, so when the green flag is clicked, and then that'll start our coding process. Now we want to attach a motion block to there. We'll attach the glide blocks. So that means our little man will be floating around. I also want to attach some speech from the looks blocks, the purple ones, and we'll get them to say, "Whoa, welcome to space. Click on a planet to learn some interesting facts," or something like that. And you can change the duration of the time for what he says right next to the speech there, but we'll keep it at 2 seconds for now. Lastly, get the go to the front block and put it in there so the spaceman is always flying in front. So now let's create our sun. So instead of choose sprite, we click paint sprite. And here we have everything we need to create our dream sprites. In the fill box we have the different color choices, so color, saturation and brightness, and you just drag the little cursor to where you want your color to be. Gradients are in the top bar there, and we click on the one we want. Maybe orange with the gradient with yellow to give the sun a bit of depth. Then I'll click the circle icon on the left there to create our circular sun, and then I'll use the paint tool on the left there to draw some rays to make it look more sun-like. Then I'll change the size, and then once I've done that I'll drag it to the left so we just have a part of the sun showing. And then I do the exact same thing with the 8 planets and the 1 dwarf planet, getting a bit of experimental with the paint tool, creating a couple more circles on some of the planet to make craters. This is not to scale, I'd like to mention. And then I just dragged the planets around. I couldn't fit them in a line, so I experimented a bit with just placing them around the screen. Now I want my sun and my planets to say things, so I go to the Events tab, the yellow one, and grab and drag when this sprite is clicked. Then I go to the Looks tab, where I get my sun to say stuff. So say, "Hello, I'm the sun," and we'll just leave that on 2 seconds, and then the sun can say, "Did you know that I'm a star?" Then I repeat the same process with all of the planets, just throwing in some interesting facts about them and their distance from the sun. So now I want to add some sound, so I go to the pink sound tab on the left, and then I go to the bottom left hand corner and click choose sound. I go to the space tab and click teleport to, because that sounds kind of techno-ish. Then I drag start sound, teleport to, into the little sequence there, and that plays the sound when the sprite is clicked. I've repeated that with all the planets and then given our little space guy his own sound. Now we go to the top right hand corner, click My Stuff, then there's our Year 5 space project at the top, click on that, and then we can watch what we've done. And that's how you create an educational animation using Scratch 3.0.
As we've seen, Scratch 3.0 is a versatile, creative and safe software for you to integrate into your primary classroom. For more information, try any of the tutorials on the Scratch website, or alternatively, take a look at Deepa Moraldatar's first look at Scratch 3.0 found at LinkedIn Learning. I hope you've enjoyed this professional development video and I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching.